Hey guys, today I'll be doing a book review on Unwind by Neal Shusterman. This book was originally published in 2007, and to give you the gist of the story, it takes place after America's Second Civil War, which, according to the book, the Second Civil War was on the rights to have an abortion or not to have an abortion. And there was a third fraction, which was the United States government, as it currently is. After the war, they decided they would do away with abortion, but I want to say between the ages of 13 to 17. If your teenager's unruly or if they get in trouble a lot, they can be unwound, which means basically like they would harvest their organs, but they would have to use pretty much all of their body parts. And it wouldn't be killing them, but they could live in a divided state because all their parts have to be used, and therefore they wouldn't be dead, but so basically they would take my heart out, give it to someone, but then someone else would get my ear per se. So technically all of me is still alive. So that's the basically setup for this world. It doesn't say how many years after the Second Civil War that these rules have been instated. But that's basically the gist of the background that you need to know to go into this. And the first character, one of the main characters you meet, is Connor. And honestly, when I read this book, I was driving from Texas to Ohio. Well, not read in the traditional sense. I listened to it in audiobook, which, if you're a fan of audiobooks, I highly recommend. I thought the narrator did a fantastic job with voice changes, with building drama. And there's no music or anything in background, but the way the narrator for this audiobook tells the story is fantastic. It's almost like listening. It's better than watching TV or anything. It really puts you there with the way he narrates and just does different voices and builds up situations just with words. Excuse me. Need some water. Anyways, so Connor's the main character. He's been in trouble with the cops before, and I want to say he's about 14. And the reason I read this book, because it takes originally in place in Ohio, but it goes cross country from like New Mexico to I want to say Florida, Indiana, just here and there. I want to say Missouri is in there too. But basically, Connor's been in trouble with the law multiple times, has failing grades, so his parents sign an order to saying they can come and unwind him because he's too much of a problem child. So basically he can be unwound, which, like I said before, they have to use all your parts such as the ear, nose, everything, but just because they take it off, but other people get it. So not like one ear goes to one person, the other ear could go to a different person. But technically, since all your tissues are being used, you're still considered quote unquote alive. So basically he tries to outrun when he finds out what's going on. And on the interstate, there's like a big crash or something, and he's able to escape. And on this interstate where the big crash is how the other two major characters come into play. I wouldn't say Connor's the the main character, because each of them in their own right it's told from different points of view, Connor being one of them. And he is the first character you meet. The second character is Risa, which she's an orphan child, and basically she's very good at music. She's raised in the orphanage. She's known as, like, she's basically a burden of the state. And somehow or some way, but she's never been in trouble. She was always good, never caused fights or anything of that nature. And is a very talented musician. She somehow she gets put on to be unwound as well, even though she did nothing wrong. She heads on a bus to get unwound on the same road as Connor does, and so does the third character, Lev. Lev is a little different. Lev did nothing wrong either, but his family is very religious, and they believe in giving a tenth of what you have back to God. And the way religion has come about after the Second Civil War in the book is, not everybody believes this in the book, but there's a few. There's a good fraction of it, from what it seems like, that his family had 10 children, Lev being the youngest, so he basically becomes tithed, or giving a tenth of their children. And basically he's going to be unwound. Tithes, since they are voluntarily given up to have their organs harvested, basically they're treated a little better because they get to choose the date they're going to do it. They usually have a big party, which honestly, from what the party sounded like, was like a bar mitzvah or like a sweet 16. But after you have it, you're pretty much going to be unwound. I don't want to say die because it never explains if they actually do die or not. So he's driving. I don't know if his parents are driving, or I can't remember exactly. Someone else is taking him to Harvest Camp. Harvest Camp is where people get prepared to be unwound. Nobody knows what's going on because they're pretty secretive, even though there's multiple of them across the country. Basically, it's like summer camp, or basically just to make sure you're healthy and fit before they actually use you for your organs. Anyways, there's a big crash. Connor, Risa, and Lev meet each other, and Connor and Risa escape together, but they kind of hold Lev hostage because he is convinced that he should be harvested because of God, religion, what have you. And so they kind of hold him hostage, and they go through different situations leading up to, basically, if they can survive till they're 18, they're free. They could go to jail for escaping the law and all that, but they can't be killed, basically, or unwound. So they're just trying to escape and find somewhere to hide, and that's pretty much all I'll give. If you haven't read the book, I won't give away much more than that. Anyways, time for a review. This is a very interesting idea. I haven't heard many books or any type of story, be it TV, books, other forms of media, that have taken on this issue as it has before. It's interesting to see how it takes place, or it's very pro-life, yet it's very pro-choice. It is really, pardon the pun, divided. It makes cases for both. You can kind of see how it would work out, and you kind of not. With certain situations, you feel like this is immoral and so forth, but you could also see the other side depending where you fall on the pro-life or pro-choice spectrum of things. It does make you question a lot of things, especially when it comes to how a nation's government treats its people, how religion plays into everything with this, and how we treat our youth, and criminal society. Basically, people be reformed in a less drastic measure. The characters are it is a young adult, so it's not, and it's about 300 pages from what I've read. I did listen to the audiobook. I want to say it was about 10 to 12 hours. So there is character development. It's not going to be as deep as like literary fiction, but you get the idea. There's enough character background, feelings to warrant sympathy or anger towards any number of characters. I do recommend this book. Unlike certain books, especially with adult books that deal with adult issues, and abortion, it's a very controversial topic, even though it doesn't actually explain abortion so much, but where we've gone in society and so forth. It's not overly harsh, or just, a lot of people say it's disturbing, but it is. There's one scene, I won't tell you who or what, but it basically describes how it feels to be unwound. Basically, because you have to be conscious. Like, they don't put you to sleep or anything. You have to stay awake to, basically it's like a right to life type thing. So you have to be conscious when they do it. And that's the most disturbing scene of the book. Honestly. It's very disturbing. It could possibly give you nightmares if you don't have a very strong will or very tolerant of such things. But other than that, the other novel, it doesn't make you depressed, since you can tell it's fiction. You can see it's more of a book of symbolism than actual fact. Excuse me. So, sorry about that. Just got a lot of indigestion today or something. But it does make you think. It gives you a story, but it's a good way to explain the symbolism. You do feel more for the characters, but it gets you thinking about your own beliefs and more things than to be attached to any character or to anything of that nature. Like, I'm trying to figure out a way to say this. I could see, I don't know. Sorry guys. basically it wants you to think about more things than how I feel than to get lost into a different world, which it does do that. It really does. But this book is definitely more symbolic than it is escapism, which is usually kind of the books I tend to like a little bit more, is escapism more so than symbolic books. But I digged it. I would recommend it. It's not a super light read, but it's not a super harsh read. It's somewhere in the middle. I have started the second book in the series on Unholy, but not like religious unholy, but like WH unholy, like holes. So, yeah. It's interesting. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I feel like this is a book that should be discussed. It makes you question your opinions, which is always good once in a while, no matter where your politics lie, no matter what your religious beliefs are. And I feel like this book has a good way of going in the subject without alienating one person over the other. So that's my review for Unwind. I hope you guys picked it up if you haven't already. If you have, I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions on it. And well, that'll be it. I am trying to finishing a few more books today. I have some downtime today, and it's the weekend for me, so yeah, I'm pretty much going to be reading all weekend. I'm watching some book too. It's nice to be back, guys. I've been away for about a while because I've moved. If you haven't watched the other video I posted, I moved from Texas to Ohio, hence the term I've read this book, because some of it takes place in Ohio, not all of it though. And I hope you guys enjoy your day or your evening or whatever time you're watching this. And may there be a lot more good books for you guys to read. And hopefully, if any of you guys actually post videos, I'll be seeing you guys soon. Thanks, guys. Bye. Have a nice day.